time it is. It's that official time. Where we take this worldwide. Let's go. Listen. So now it's time to turn it up. Surf the radio waves as we begin to burn it up. We all up in your area like landscape, definitely bringing you the power flavor pancakes. It's a mandate that you tune in. It's time to move out so we can move in and recognize that this is no illusion. I'm here to clear the air so that there is no confusion. It all started off in the book of Genesis when Jacob was wrestling with who he thought was his nemesis. And when the man saw he couldn't overpower him, he touched his hip but he really couldn't devour him. And from that point, then we hear a name change, rearrange the game, so now we gotta change lanes. So I'm here to let you know it's time to listen to the Pancake and Power Slam show. Let's go! Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Power Slam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Power Slam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Power Slam show. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Power Slam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Power Slam. Turn it up, it's the Pancake and Power Slam show. Turn it up.
Episode 504, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Pancakes and Power Slam show. Indeed. We are live and in living color, getting funky like a monkey, if you will, baby. Yeah. I am Dr. Chris Featherstone, and I have my drum today. Okay. I used to play African drums when I was a kid. It's a fun fact about me. And next month, I'm going to get me a big African drum. I'm actually writing a note. I think I'm going to buy me a big African drum next month for my Christmas gift. Trying to play African drums while I'm sitting down. There you go. You get an African drum solo from Dr. Chris. I used to do African dancing and African drums. So all right, let's get into these Dr. Chris questions. Let's address them. Let's go. That is the third time I've interviewed Pewter, I believe. I believe that is time number 3. Have I watched Red Notice? No. Do I plan on it? Not really. What I think of the Golden Age storyline, I think it's absolutely terrible. Vince Russo and I talked about it on Raw. Horrible. What I think about Survivor Series. Survivor Series was a very meaningless pay-per-view. Very meaningless. As I thought. I mean, it was a very, very meaningless pay-per-view. So, wasn't a fan of it at all. And just like I said before, I think that the whole concept of Survivor Series is absolutely, utterly meaningless now. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's a terrible concept. It's basically bragging rights all over again. Bragging rights only lasted like 2 years, and it was gone because it was just meaningless. Survivor Series is the same way. It's an utterly meaningless pay-per-view with absolutely nothing to show for it. And it's been like this since it's done this bragging rights type of crap. It's shown nothing for it. We saw it. Big E said, "Oh man, I lost against Roman Reigns, but I've got Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens." Why do I care? Becky Lynch says, I beat Charlotte Flair, but I've got some number one contenders. You guys want fresh, and I'm going to heal it up real quick, which I'm glad that she healed it up. She should have been done that, which is just weird. It's confusing. You want to heal it up at SummerSlam in August, but you kind of want to baby face it up a little bit because Charlotte's a clear cut heel. So you want something going on, make you seem like a baby face a little bit more, kind of. But you beat Bianca Belair. All of that ends at an episode of Raw when you just beat her and you cheated. That basically ends the feud. That was the whole 26 seconds. No payoff for Bianca Belair. Then you kind of babyface it up for Charlotte, and then you cut a promo to heal it up again. It's just so confusing. It's confusing. It's confusing. And a follower of pro wrestling who hasn't been a follower of pro wrestling for a while, the only thing that they're going to do is they're going to be like, what is this? Let me watch Monday Night Football again. What's up, Chris? Good interview, and man, that was some deep stuff. Yeah, that was my favorite interview of Peter. He actually celebrated my birthday with me a couple of years ago. I think he was either on my anniversary show. No, I think that was Rockacon that celebrated my birthday with me. But I think he was on my anniversary show. Let me see. Anniversary show. Yeah, he was on a 7-year anniversary show. So he was on my anniversary show in April of 2019. So over 2.5 years ago, he was on my anniversary show. So there you go. There you go. Yeah. Cool guy, man. I don't have any issues with Pewter. He's always been a very nice guy to me. So no issues here. Yeah, that was really interesting. It's really intriguing me to dive into the Benoit case and write a book about it. Just write about, reopening the case, and bringing my journalistic pen back and / forensic psychology doctor and, an investigative journalist. And, man, I'm interested. I just don't have the time though. I don't have the time. I'm actually, I'm supposed to be writing a book. I was supposed to have my book done before the end of the year, and I have the chapters started, but I haven't even started on the chapters. I think in 2022 is when I'm going to start doing a lot of things. I'm a college professor. I actually have my coursework done. I've had my coursework done for almost a year now, and just about to dive into that. I think 2022, probably toward the second half or second 3/4 of 2022, my schedule's going to open up a lot more than what it is now. So I'll have more time. I plan on writing a book, or even perhaps two, but probably one. Most likely one. I'll plan on writing at least a book. I have a Chris Benoit article that I wrote years ago that I wanted to get it submitted into a peer-reviewed journal, and I'm interested in that case. Let me show my cameras. There we go. I'm interested in that case, that Benoit saga. I'm really interested in diving into that. What happened to the Titans? They lost to a bad Houston Texans team who only won one game before beating the Titans. Tannehill was a bit off. AJ Brown went out in the third quarter, which hurt us. AP, they haven't really used AP the way that's he should be used. Jeremy McNichols is the person who seems like has taken that second spot since Henry's out for the year. It looks good, the previous week since, after Henry left, but didn't look good yesterday. But at 8-3, we are still the top AFC team in the entire league. So we have the first round bye spot right now with only we got 6 more games to go. So hopefully that doesn't change. But right now we are the top. We're the top of the heap, baby. The top of the heap. Not only are we heading the AFC South, we are heading the AFC period. So we have that advantage. So we just got to keep going. That was our losses have been really weird. 2 out of the 3 losses were against bad teams, so odd stuff. But I think with the momentum that we have, and hopefully we can bounce back from that really bad really bad loss. I think we have the Pats this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Pats are okay. They've been on a pretty actually they're pretty hot. Pats have been one of the most highest momentum teams recently. They had a pretty bad start, and then they've been catching fire over the past 6 games or so. So Pats is going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but I think we can do it. I think we can do it. They released AP and signed Golden Tate. Yep. Well, they said APs could be brought back, but they waived them, unfortunately. Absolutely, Chris. I predicted they were going to move up to 2 because they just put a shellacking on the 7th-ranked team in the nation, and they should be 2. Alabama struggled against Arkansas, which is now a 4-loss team. So, Arkansas is not that good, and they struggled. They only lost, only won by a touchdown, and it was back and forth. They allowed a bunch of offense. So, Alabama looks like a vulnerable team. And so, yeah, we shall see. We shall see how that is. I think Bama dropping down was a good call. And Ohio State going up was a good call. And I think right now the only thing that's really going to change in the 4 is if I'm saying when Georgia beats Alabama, then I'd be interested to see the big argument. If everything pans out and Georgia beats Alabama, the big argument will be who deserves to be in that spot, that 3rd or 4th spot. So the big argument, if everything happens, like if Oklahoma State wins out and Notre Dame wins out, those will be the 2 teams that will be arguing for that spot to be in the playoffs. If it was my choice, it would be the Cowboys, Oklahoma State, because Notre Dame's their biggest quality win is against Wisconsin, who's I think they're 15th or something like that now. Let me see with the new rankings. They are Wisconsin is 14 now. So A&M's a 3-loss team who's 15th, and that they beat Alabama. Oklahoma State is a 1-loss team, and so yeah, their loss was Iowa State, wasn't it? Yeah, Iowa State was their only loss. And Iowa State's a decent team. I mean, they're a 5-2 team. Tough team. They barely lost to Baylor, and they lost to West Virginia. West Virginia is one of those teams that you they can strike this week and be off the week after and strike this week. And so, yeah, they lost against Texas Tech, which got them out of the 25 because Texas Tech isn't that good. But, yeah, I would say it's okay. They're not terrible, but I mean they've what 6-14, and then they lost against who else did Iowa State lose against? They lost to Iowa, which is top 20 team. West Virginia, they lost to Texas Tech, and then lost to Oklahoma. So, tough losses. I mean, they barely. I mean, they almost beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma struggled against Iowa State. They only lost by a touchdown. So, not bad. They beat Oklahoma State. Big win for them. But Oklahoma State only lost by 3 points. So Oklahoma State only has one loss, and it was by 3 points. So Oklahoma State's, I think they have a very strong argument to be in the college football playoffs over Notre Dame. Notre Dame's loss, yes, is Cincinnati, but you have to think about their quality wins too. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it would be interesting. Like I said, I think that would be the biggest as far as headlines are concerned. I think that would be what the headlines are going to be talked about. Should it be Notre Dame? Should it be Oklahoma State? I think that's going to be. I think Ohio State is going to put an absolute catastrophic massacre on Michigan. Like, we're going to beat them as bad as we beat Michigan State. Because guess what? Michigan State came back from 16 down to beat Michigan. And we beat them 56-7. And we put our foot off the gas in the second half. It could have been worse, actually. We actually almost scored a touchdown toward the end, and we, stopped. So it could have been much worse than 56-7. So, and Michigan State came back from 16 down to win that game. So, yeah, it's not going to look good for Michigan. How stupid was the auctions taken by the guy who attacked Seth last night? Yeah, I was checking out his IG and all that stuff, man. It's it's sad because I really think it really seems like he's dealing with some cluster A type of stuff. It seems like cluster A, you have paranoid personality disorder, you have schizotypal or schizotypal, and then you have schizoid, and it definitely seems like a schizotypal personality disorder. I don't know. I mean, I'm not diagnosing him because I don't know, but I mean, I diagnose people every day as a psychology doctor, and from his mannerisms, he is showing signs of a cluster A personality disorder. Definitely seems like that. All right, let's see. 450 days. Yes, I think he should pass Brock Lesnar's 500 and something day. The fan who attacked Rollins said he did it for his tribal chief. How soon before it gets turned into a bad storyline? I don't think it will. I think it was just, I don't know. I mean, Byron Saxton, because Pat McAfee has said one time that on his show that he doesn't know hardly anything about what's going on. Like, Cole knows, but McAfee, like, they on purpose, they give the color analyst very little to work with, so they can call on the fly with more feeling and with more feeling into it. So Byron Saxton, he actually was calling color commentary for a moment when the guy attacked them. He was like, "Oh, what?" And of course, it went off camera like, "Hey, this isn't happening," but of course, it's happening. So, very interesting. Raw winning almost all the matches made no sense. I agree with that, and the whole pay-per-view makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. No sense. No sense. Xavier Woods says the winning team should get a good position in Rumble, say the 25 to 30 spot. And that's the thing, Michael. That I can appreciate stuff like that because at least there's stakes involved. Why am I competing if there's no stakes involved in these matches? Give me stakes. I say this all the time. I say the survivors of the team, if it's Raw, say for instance, if Raw wins and there were 3 survivors on Raw, the next pay-per-view, which would be day 1, they should go against the Smackdown champion. All 3 of them. So if it's only 1 survivor, it should be one-on-one match. If it's 2 survivors, it should be, triple threat. If it's all 5 survivors, it should be a 6-way. Whatever variation you put into that, it would be an interesting variation, because, like for instance, Roman Reigns is the champ now, and say Seth Rollins was the sole survivor, that means that he would go against Roman Reigns on day 1. Although I don't like heel versus heel, I would have had another babyface winner. I would have had another babyface stay there on Raw, maybe like a Finn Balor. So it would have been a cool triple threat: Balor versus Rollins versus Reigns. That would have been for day 1. That's a very marketable main event. So, and for SmackDown, if they would have won, you got Big E. You could have easily had who was a Corbin? No, for Corbin. Who was on the who was on the SmackDown team? Oh gosh, I forgot that quick. See, that's how meaningless this that's how meaningless it was. I forgot even. Let's see, who was on the SmackDown team? The SmackDown team was Drew, Hardy, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and Sheamus. Big E versus Drew versus Sheamus versus Woods. I mean, you could have had a 4-way. That would have been interesting too, because you could throw Woods in there. Because Woods and Big E has history, and then Drew and Sheamus has history. You could have done a 4-way at day 1. You could have really you could have made it something. It could have been something to have the winners of the survivors of the team go against the opposite brand's champion for day 1, and that would have been really interesting to have that type of concept. As far as and that's what I would have done as far as the cross brand. All the other matches I would have just simply had within the brand, like Raw versus Raw matches, SmackDown versus SmackDown matches. There's no need, like Shinsuke Nakamura versus Damian Priest. Who cares? Who cares about that match? And I definitely would have had Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. That would have been totally fine. You could have done Charlotte Flair versus I don't even know who's. I mean, Tony Storm. There you go, Tony Storm. They had a segment. I would have been fine with that. Charlotte Flair versus Tony Storm, and that would have been a good Survivor Series match. You could have had a tag team match, like a bunch of tag teams together, a bunch of Raw baby, like 3 baby face Raw tag teams against 3 heel Raw tag teams, or even SmackDown tag teams, and the tag teams that win go against the opposite tag team champions at day 1. You really could have done so many different variations with this Survivor Series to make it mean something. Give it stakes. Big E losing the match against Roman Reigns was utterly meaningless. It did nothing to help his character. You want to do everything you possibly can to help Big E's character at this point, and you're having him lose a match against Roman Reigns at Survivor Series that meant nothing. It meant nothing. Roman Reigns is super over, the premier person in all of professional wrestling. Him beating Big E does not help his character more than it hurts Big E. So just a terrible concept. It's like they back themselves into a corner with this pay per view every year by saying, "Oh, okay, we got to do champ versus champ." Okay, utterly meaningless. Big E could have easily went against Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens in a match, and there you go. Or you could have taken Kevin Owens out of the Team Raw. He left anyways. You could have easily put in Rey Mysterio. You didn't have to take him out, and so that's would have made the heels and baby faces make sense to be with each other. Like, why? Like, we're fighting against each other every week, and then all of a sudden we want to be allies for the brand. I don't care about that. I don't care about being an ally for the brand if I can't stand you. But if I know that if I work with you and I have a better shot at being a survivor of this match and going against the opposite brand's champion at day one, okay, well, now we have a reason to collab with each other. But just simply for brand supremacy for a year, I don't care. I mean, I don't want to be in this match for brand supremacy. That's terrible. So you could have put Rey Mysterio back in there, and you could have had Kevin Owens go against Big E for the WWE Championship. And as far as the RK Bro, again, we didn't need that. We didn't need RK Bro and the Usos. For what? I mean, why? Why do we? We didn't need that. We don't need that match. It was pointless. All of the matches were the only thing that came. The only thing that came out of Survivor Series was Bianca Belair looking strong again and getting really good ovation and kind of reinvigorating that push that should have never left, but only for the next night for her to have a 50-50 type of feel, cuts a promo, beats Tamina, which was a meaningless match, gets attacked by Natalya, doesn't really get her come up, and she just kicks her away, and then gets attacked by Doudrop. So you look strong only for the next day for you to look weak. Absolutely mind-boggling to me. Believable superstar who can give Roman a good storyline and pass the belt to. I think Drew's the guy. I think he's going to give it to. I think Drew's the one who's going to beat him at WrestleMania. Until then, filler feuds. I mean, as far as the babyface is concerned, right now on SmackDown, who the heck do you give it to? Ricochet? I mean, do you do Ricochet versus Reigns for a filler feud for day one? Because there's no other pay-per-views left for the rest of the year. So you have day one, and then a few weeks later, you have the Royal Rumble. So I don't know who on SmackDown. Jeff Hardy. I mean, you can't go wrong with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy versus Roman Reigns. Because you're going to have to give him a bunch of filler until Mania. I mean, Jeff Hardy. You can continue the Woods thing if you want to. I mean, they've got something going with that. They probably would do that. They'll probably continue the feud with Woods, and then you'll probably throw a bunch of you'll probably throw Hardy and probably Hardy and who in the heck? Ricochet in there until Mania. Yep. Let's see. Hashtag Ask Dr. Chris. Triple H and Stephanie's oldest daughter's training to become a wrestler. No, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Very interesting. Oh my God, Dez is in the building. Just want to let you know I have no faith in Michigan this weekend. I got to see it to believe it. Desperate Michigan fan. I don't blame you, man. People like you, just you're. I appreciate your realism, Dez, because the Ohio State wide receiver core right now is probably the best trio of wide receivers in Ohio State history. I mean, you had Anthony Gonzalez, Ted Ginn Jr., and Santonio Holmes, which was a really, really good trio. But as far as a trio is concerned, this is the greatest trio in the history of Ohio State football. I mean, all three of them are going to have 100-yard seasons, most likely. Chris Olave just broke the record for most touchdown receptions in Ohio State history. I mean, CJ Stroud's on the top of the Heisman vote. Offensively, we are just absolutely explosive. The only thing that kept us from being that top team or amongst the top teams was the fact that our defense was inconsistent. But against Michigan State, we held the Heisman frontrunner, Kenneth Walker, to 26 yards with 6 carries. 26 yards. We held the Heisman frontrunner to 26 yards. That showed us that the Heisman frontrunner, Kenneth Walker, and right now, second to third, right now it's Walker, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young from Alabama. Those are like the three right now that's among the top of the Heisman discussions. And so we basically kicked out Kenneth Walker, and CJ Stroud had tied the most most quarterback touchdowns in the game. He tied for the record in the same game as the other Heisman competing. So it looks like he's going to get the Heisman. So we shall see. It's looking like CJ Stroud is going to get the Heisman as a freshman, which is very interesting. But I mean, like I said, Michigan State beat Michigan coming back from 16 down, and we beat the brakes off of Michigan State, who beat Michigan, and Michigan State lost to Purdue. They got whooped by Purdue. They tried to come back toward the end, but it didn't work. But they were getting whooped by Purdue. But we whooped Purdue and Michigan State. So not looking good for those Wolverines. Looks like we're going to go 10 straight years beating Michigan. We haven't lost since 2011. This year actually would be tied for the longest winning streak, which is 9 games. So we shall see. 2011, we lost to Michigan. 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. We beat Michigan. Michigan, they didn't play us last year because the Tuesday beforehand, Harbaugh was like, I think we're going to sit this one out. I think we're going to sit this one out because he knew that Ohio State was going to put a stomping on Michigan, and he wanted to keep his job. That's basically why he said that. They could have played the game. They just decided to back out, and so they didn't play in 2020. So 2021 would make number 9 straight. So we would tie the longest active winning streak. Michigan had it from like 1901 to 1909 or something like that, like over 100 years ago when they were actually dominating Ohio State. It's interestingly enough, the actual active head coaches, with the exception of uh, John Cooper, who only beat Michigan twice. He was 2-10-1 in 13 years, which jacked the overall record. It was even spread out even more, and with John Cooper, it made it even worse. Now I think we're only 7 down, if I'm not mistaken. We're only 7 down after being like 20 down. I think we were able to bring it down to 7. That's because in the early 1900s, Michigan would beat Ohio State a lot. But if you think of all the active coaches, there's only been one head coach since 1950 that has had a losing record against Ohio State. Woody had a winning record. Earl Bruce had a winning record. Cooper didn't. Then you got Trussell, winning record, only lost once against Michigan. Urban only lost 0 times against Michigan, 7-0, undefeated. Ryan Day, 2-0. Can you call it a rivalry anymore? Can you call it a rivalry? Yes, Michigan versus Ohio State this year. Absolutely. Lonzo in the building. What's up, my man? Thoughts on the fan attack Seth Rollins last night. I shared. I think that he's dealing with some cluster A personality traits. That's very disturbing, unfortunately. Favorite match was the women's. My favorite match. I liked Lynch and Flair was a good watch. I say my favorite match was probably the women's Raw versus SmackDown, because that's the only thing that came out of Survivor Series was Bianca Belair looking good. Least favorite match was the Battle Royal. Battle Royal was terrible. Why in the world are you like it's again it's a brand supremacy thing. It's a brand supremacy thing. And you literally have people with Raw shirts and SmackDown shirts on, but Raw people are throwing Raw people out, and SmackDown people are throwing out SmackDown people. Okay. But I thought this was a brand supremacy pay-per-view, but you've got a Raw shirt on, but I'm going to beat you up and throw you out of a battle royal. That means nothing but honoring The Rock with having 25 men in battle. Okay, just again, meaningless, absolutely meaningless, 100% meaningless. Okay, meaningless. I don't know if you heard, but it looks like we're going to get NXT Black and Go versus NXT 2.0 at War Games. Really? You know, Chris, 2.0 is just, I tried, man. I tried. Like, I watched the first few of them. And I'll even try to like dip back in there and just like watch, I just can't get into 2.0. I can't, man. I follow like the results and like very vaguely what's going on. I know the Toxic Attraction or All Champs. I did watch the pay-per-view, and right now I'll watch War Games. But as far as like watching the dailies leading up to the NXT pay-per-views, watch the weekly shows leading up to the pay-per-views. Like NXT is just pay-per-view. It's basically by pay-per-view only to me. I have no interest in 2.0. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not enthused. I'm not interested. I just like I get paid to watch Raw and I get paid to follow wrestling to have shows to talk about them. I don't get paid to watch NXT. Like there's nothing about NXT that helps me. Like it just other than liking the product, which I liked it before. I used to watch NXT every week, but not until like I would have to binge sometimes because for the past really couple years, I would keep up. I mean, I would follow like every week and know, but there would be times where I would watch it like 2 or 3 at a time at the gym. You know what I mean? Because I just I wasn't interested enough to keep up with it every single week. I mean, I keep up. I mean, I watch Raw the day of just to do the show afterwards. I watch SmackDown typically within the next few days. I usually aim to watch SmackDown before Raw, so I usually watch it like Sunday, like when I'm in my office working, I'll have SmackDown playing in the background, or I'll watch it in spurts, and a chunk of it is I watch it at the gym. So that's my SmackDown watching, and then AEW, same deal. I usually watching on the weekends. Like Dynamite, I usually watch like Thursday or Friday. A lot of times I break up Dynamite at the gym when I'm doing cardio, and then Rampage is only an hour, so sometimes I watch that. Like I start watching Rampage probably 30-40 minutes out, and it's a Friday night. If I'm at home, I'll watch it like as I'm like in the bed. I'll watch it in the bed like 11:30 at night. I'm a night owl anyway, so I'll watch it at like 11:30 midnight or something like that. So, but NXT 2.0 though, I'm just I'm just not interested. I just nothing about it causes me to be interested at all. No, I'm not. I'm actually not hosting this year. My wife and I, we've hosted a few times, but we are actually going over a family member's house. A bunch of family members are going over one family member's house, and my wife is cooking a couple things, and I will be DJing. So it's going to be a good time. I'm bringing the games and the music. So I'll be DJing and playing out music. I think so. I think they're going to do Owens and Biggie. Be like probably in December sometime on a Raw special, and then we'll probably see Rollins versus Biggie at day one, or a triple threat at day one. But I think they'll do Owens versus Biggie, and then Seth Rollins versus Biggie. But here's the thing, though. It was a Q&A I did last week. Vince Russo and DDP and I, we started a teaser last week. We're having a weekly show on Thursday live called The Bro Show. It's myself, I'm hosting, and then the co-host, the guests are Vince Russo and DDP every week. And so we did the first show / like pilot teaser last week, and I did a Q&A before DDP got on the show. And people were asking, one person asked me who I thought the Royal Rumble winner is going to be. I said the safe bet's going to be Drew again, because the rumor is Drew versus Brock versus Reigns. I think you want to be careful with that, because right now Drew's getting cheered again. He was kind of getting booed a little bit for a little while, especially during WrestleMania season. And so now he's getting cheered again, and you want to be very careful with that. You don't want him to win the Royal Rumble because I think that would backlash him as far as the fan support. So I don't think you have Drew win the Royal Rumble again. What I wouldn't be opposed to, Biggie losing the title before the Royal Rumble and then winning the Royal Rumble to set up a better stage, second WWE Championship reign. I mean, if you want to do it against Seth Rollins, I'm fine with that. I mean, if you want to have Seth Rollins beat Big E at day one and then Big E win the Royal Rumble to set up a rematch against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, I'm fine with that. Just give Big E the second title reign in a bigger stage. I said this when Big E won, and even the weeks beforehand when he was it was teasing that he would either do it at Extreme Rules or a lesser stage. I said no. I said I don't like it because it's not going to make his title reign feel special. I wish that it would have been at a bigger stage, and I was right because his title reign doesn't feel special. It doesn't feel special. He won it on a Raw, and Raw is the worst show on WWE television right now, the worst show. 2.0 is I don't like it. I'm not interested, but I don't think it's worse than Raw because at least NXT isn't 3 hours. That's super dragged. Although I'm not clicking with NXT 2.0. It's not horrible. Raw is bad. Raw is just a bad show. It's a terrible show. And he won it on Raw. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think it would probably be best to have him win it on a bigger stage. I'm totally fine with that. So if Seth Rollins beats Big E at day one to lead to Big E winning at the Rumble, count me in. I'm interested. What I think of day one as a name, generic, but not terrible. Not terrible. Not terrible. Chris says that's why I thought they could have had Roman versus Big E in the draw, but WWE doesn't do time limits or in a DQ somehow to protect both wrestlers, especially Roman. Big E Roman did not need that win. I agree. He didn't need that win. I think you just don't do the match. I mean, you just don't do the match unless you have Big E win and have Big E go for the SmackDown championship against against Roman Reigns and beat Roman Reigns at Mania. I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But I think you have Drew and Brock right now on SmackDown, so you want that. But I think it makes sense. Like you gotta make it make sense. So if Seth beats Big E and then Big E wins the Royal Rumble and then beats Seth Rollins just on a match on Raw, and people thinking that he's gonna go for Rollins, then he appears on SmackDown like the day or the same week and says, "I want Roman Reigns." That would be cool, but then you'll have someone like Drew and Brock still, aiming for that world title spot. So right now, Big E losing to Roman Reigns means nothing. There's no payoff. There's no trajectory to it. Just like Drew losing last year meant nothing. Still meant nothing. A year later means nothing. Roman Reigns beating Big E meant nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, unfortunate. One large commercial Survivor Series felt like very interesting. Ask Dr. Chris. Hashtag Ask Dr. Chris. Thoughts about Kyle Rittenhouse walking free of all charges? Good question. For the sake of not stirring up stuff, private message me about that. My undergrad's in public relations, so that was a PR move right there. Someone's spamming here. Yeah. Thoughts, feelings about last 2 rounds of recent releases from Hit Row. Alonzo, check out the Sports Kita YouTube page. Vince and I talk about all of them. We talk about more in depth. So go check that out. Not the size of the Giants. Not the size of Andre the Giant, but yes. Yes, I do. My hand to your hand, as Dusty Rhodes would say, baby. See, questions like this is I love questions like this. What are some of your favorite foods for Thanksgiving? Ooh, see, you're making me more excited about Thanksgiving food, Aaron. Among favorites, I would say turkey. Turkey, macaroni, and cheese are probably my 2. I like ham, but I would say probably turkey and macaroni and cheese are my 2 favorite Thanksgiving foods. And I like cranberry sauce. I like a lot of Thanksgiving foods, but those are probably my 3 favorites: turkey, macaroni and cheese, cranberry sauce, and then I love desserts. My aunt makes this. My aunt is an absolutely incredible baker, and she makes just pies and just like dessert dishes and just amazing. But I do count my calories. I count my calories every single day because I'm really big into fitness. And so I'm going to still eat a lot on Thanksgiving, but I'm still going to stay within my caloric intake because I'm going to have to see, because there's been some years that gym is open on Thanksgiving. I plan on working out on Thanksgiving morning. Matter of fact, I work out a Planet Fitness, so I'm gonna check and see if Planet Fitness is open on Thanksgiving because I want to go there. I'm gonna call them. I'll be there tomorrow, but I'm gonna check and see if they're open on Thanksgiving. Hopefully, they are, just for a little bit. At least one location that's near me open for just a little bit. Because I will go for Thanksgiving. I think either last year and or 2 years ago, I worked out a Thanksgiving morning. Just I know that I was going to stuff myself, and I wanted to stay within my calories, and so I ate a little bit on Thursday morning, like a tiny, like something very snacky, and then I just like went in on on Thursday. So the gym isn't open. I'll probably eat like a banana or something, like, and some graham crackers and snack a couple times, and then probably like eat about 1,500 calories or something like that on the evening. Good questions, y'all. Excuse to promote Pizza Hut. That definitely could be the case. Keith is with me on NXT 2.0. Yeah. Bronson Reed went to Impact. Yeah, I can see that. I'll check out it. I'll binge on Impact's videos just to catch up and see what's going on. So I'll check that out to see. Killer Cross will sign with Impact, Mike. Do I see Walter coming to the main roster? WWE wants him over there, but he doesn't want to travel back and forth. He wants to stay overseas. Plenty of empty seats on Raw last night. Not a surprise whatsoever. AJ win the Royal Rumble, face Big E at WrestleMania? No, I don't see. I mean, because you want a baby face, like AJ chasing the baby face. Nah. Nah. Because WWE cares more about their deal with Fox. They know they have USA's deal in the bag because USA needs Raw. They need WWE to really like keep their relevancy. Raw is like the flagship show of USA. You have like Christine Knows Best or something like that. Other than that, like you really don't have many USA shows to really like stand out. You have Raw, and so they're more willing to consider WWE like a company that they're sticking with for that. Fox, they don't need WWE. Fox is a hot commodity. I mean, they have football, they have college football, pro football. Like they have so many things. Fox is a very hot commodity, so they don't need WWE. USA needs WWE more than Fox needs WWE. And plus, this is their first deal with them, and so WWE is still trying to, you know, cause interest to resign because that's where the money is. The network, the network payouts. That's network deals. That's where the money is, and the digital media is important too, and international stuff. But those network deals is where the money is. So they know they're going to re-sign with USA because they've been with them off and on for what 20, 30 years. And so 20, 25 years. So with Fox, though, it's a brand new venture. So they're going to purposely make SmackDown look good for business. I wish they would have had made Big E take the belt off Roman Mania. It was a good match at Survivor Series. It was a good match. Again, meaningless. I wouldn't have mind Big E being the one that takes the rub off of takes the rub from Roman. I wouldn't have mind that. Raw and Brooklyn only drew 5,000, probably because they were so bothered by a bad Survivor Series. Yes, as I said, yes, I am having a weekly show with DDP and Vince Russo called The Bro Show. Our first one was last Thursday. We were just clowning. We were just having a good time. It's going to be formatted. I was explaining the format, and then we were just laughing and joking, and so it was fun last Thursday. So go check it out. It's going to be exclusively on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Instagram page. So go follow the Sportskeeda Wrestling Instagram, and every Thursday. Of course, we're not going to do it this Thursday because of Thanksgiving, and then the following Thursday, I think DDP has like a birthday party, or hosting a party, or something like that. So we had one last Thursday, and it's going to pick up like the second or third week in December. How's my back? Right now, it's not terrible. I start physical therapy next week for the 7th time. Just crazy. Every day it hurts really, really bad in some capacity. But right now, though, it's not terrible. And so just take it day by day. As of right now, it's not terrible. So thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Aurora will have the belt until Mania. Los Angeles beat Rock. I think Reigns should beat the Rock, but I mean, he's approaching 500 days. I think Reigns, I don't mind him keeping it for a long time as long as they build the right person to take it off of him. Would I say that Vince looks his age? 76 years old. I've seen a lot of 76-year-old people who looks just bad and just like they're like a breath away from death. and I've seen people who look very sharp and nimble at 76. My wife's grandmother, my grandmother-in-law, she's 86 and she looks amazing. She's very nimble. She's very active. She cooks. She's active. She's super energetic, very encouraging, still goes around, still operates, 86 years old, just loving life, looks fantastic. Vince McMahon looks terrible. He looks very bad. We'll take your headline 22. Yes, I think Rock is going to headline 23 since it's in LA, and Rock is a Californian. I think The Undertaker will headline next year. Hope you and your family have great Thanksgiving. Thank you, Dion. I appreciate it. Good segue because I'm going to head out. Kimmy, thank you, my man or my lady. Kimmy, are you a male or a female? Your avatar doesn't show, but whether you're a male or a female, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, Kimmy, because of that, you're a first timer. Thank you so much for loving the show. That means a lot, and we have a good time every single week. This is what we do. I just chill. This is the 504th episode. I've been doing this show, Kimmy, for over 9.5 years. April will be 10 years. So I used to have a big format. I used to interview people every week, but actually my interview segments were bought out by Sportskeeda. They actually pay me to interview people every week. Good business. That's what business is about. When you have a dream and you run with it and keep it going, people see it and they give you money. So that's what happens. So now the PNP is just it's following a show that I do every week on Sportskeeda called Unscripted, which I take. This show used to be 2 hours from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock ish, 12:45, 1 o'clock. It used to be like 2 solid hours, but since I'm a doctor, Kimmy, I'm a psychotherapist. I work for a private practice. I'm super exhausted, and now I just have fun with the PNP Nation, and I let y'all be the people who structure the show every week with the hashtag Ask Dr. Chris questions. And so I greatly appreciate your being here for the first time. And with that being said, I'm actually going to do the first time love by giving you a round of applause. Awesome. Kimmy has so many questions next week. Kimmy says, very nice. Cool. All right, y'all. I'm going to head out on that note. Listen, I hope everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving. A fantastic Thanksgiving. Eat well. Thank you very, very much. Tap Out Talk. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Y'all have a great time. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Had so much fun with y'all every week like I always do. Until next week, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless. Happy Thanksgiving. And always remember, I do it for you. Have a good